Hey guys, it's me, Bluffmachuk here, and I was requested to do a walk cycle tutorial, so let's just get into this as soon as possible here. Yeah, so first off, I loaded up Cinema 4D, went to layout, and changed it to the animation thing here. Loads up this. Now I'm just going to change this around a tiny bit, just because I don't really like the way it does by default. I'll move the timeline to the side, shrink it a little bit, move objects and attributes so they are side by side, and shrink those as well. So now we've got a big thing here and our timeline on the side. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load up a floor, and I'm going to load up a rig. Okay. Now we're almost ready to start. I'm actually going to switch the attributes and objects so the object's at the top. Now what I suggest you do is just drag the rig in here. Sorry, not the rig, but not the rig, but all of well, basically you want to select what you want to use. So the feet, and just hold shift while you're selecting all these. The feet, the hands, the waist controller, if I can select it. Another alternative to selecting all these is actually opening up the visual selector and selecting all of it. That's another way of doing it. And then you just drag all that in over here, and ta-da! Cool stuff. That helps with this timeline. You'll see us adjusting that later. Okay, now to get to actually animating something here. First thing we'll start off with is keyframing the feet. Now we're not gonna animate him starting from stance, because once you've practiced a walk without like starting at a standing up position, you can get him. You can do the in between of sitting down and whatnot. You can figure out how to do that yourself, but for now we'll just work on a walk cycle. So first thing you'll want to do here is take his waist, which is the most difficult. Oh, wrong one. Which is the most difficult thing to select. Might I add? No. Take his waist and lower it a tiny bit. Yeah, that looks right about it. And the first stance you'll want to animate is like this, with his foot forward. Make sure that the Y is 0 so that he's touching the ground still, and the Z and the X, the Z should change, the X doesn't have to, unless you move the foot out a little bit, which is actually a good point. I suggest that you move both of the feet away from each other the slightest bit, as well as the arms. Maybe I moved that a little bit too much. Okay, now that you've done that, you want to animate this foot, which is at this point when you've taken a full step fully back here. So keyframe all of these foot positions so that it remembers this is where it was first. Keyframe that at 0. Now the next thing that you'll want is the next foot coming over, and basically you want to animate these so they're switching position. Now the reason you're doing this is we're not actually going to make the character move forward, we're going to make it look like he's walking in place. Okay? And then we can make him move forward later. It's a kind of efficient way of doing it. Not completely inefficient. I'm actually going to move this back a tiny bit more. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, as to animating the feet switching, there's a very easy way of doing this. And to do it, we will actually go to frame 12 here. And we're going to copy the value, the Z value of this foot. And we're going to click on this foot and paste it in the Z value of this foot and hit enter. And keyframe it at frame 12. Okay. I guess I missed. So now it'll move to the position of the other one. Alright. Good start. One other thing I want to do is I want to move this down a tiny bit more because I think it needs it. So it starts here, goes there. Okay, now we need to get the other foot to switch with the first foot. So go back to frame 0 while selecting the same foot, copy its Z, click on the other foot, go to frame 12 again. I like 12 because that's about the right time for a step. Also, it has a middle at 6. So now you've got the things switching. Just hit keyframe and the feet will switch. Okay, now we need in-betweens. So, at 6, we will take this foot here, the far one, lift it up a bit, and we're actually going to, I'm going to rotate the camera around so you can see it, and I'm actually, since this foot has a cool feature with feet, I'm actually going to, as well as animating it lifting up in the center there, I'm also going to point the foot, and I guess lift it up a tiny bit more. There you go. And I'll keyframe that at 6. So now we've got him lifting up his foot, putting it down, and what we'll do here now is we'll actually at frame so 0 is to 6 and 12, so at frame 18 we will copy. So basically we want to put the foot back to its original position because it's out here, now it needs to go back to its original position. So we'll move our what's it called, our pointer thingy to frame 0, and then at frame 18 we'll control click. Now that's going to copy a keyframe, so it'll do that. Now you're going to go to the other foot, go to 0 on it, no sorry, yeah, 0 on it, and click the 18. So now you've got this. Now we want to go in between 12 and 18. Yeah, 12 and 18, which is about 15. And we want to, again, go back over here. Lift this guy up. And rotate the foot. And keyframe. So now we got this. Right? Good, right? Okay. So now we've got the feet moving to a satisfactory level. If you hit play, wait, that kind of looks fast. So if it looks fast like that, wait, so from here to here is 12. Ah, I see. I'm speeding it up. This should be at 24. And this should be at that frame. So it should look like this. So from frame 12 is a step, from 12 to 24 is a step. Now it may still look like it's going really fast. That's because what we want to do is we want to click on these, and we want to hit this F curve mode. And yeah, we want to go in position, zoom in here, and you'll note that it kind of curves here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back here and actually just change this to linear mode. So linear and spline. It makes it so that it just doesn't get faster, it goes at a linear speed. Okay. Now here's another thing we want to do. We want to do the arms, of course. So what we'll do here is we'll click on the arm and we'll just watch here. So at first it starts off with the back foot back, right? So what we want to do here is we want to just kind of move the right arm a little bit forward and keyframe. Now we want to go to 12 where his foot is forward and move his arm so it's slightly back and keyframe. Then we can go to 24 and that's when it goes back forward again. So we've got a little bit of an arm swing in there. Okay, now we just need to move to the other arm. Again, go to 0, make it opposite, keyframe, go to 12, make it opposite, keyframe, and go to 24. And then make it opposite one last time, and keyframe. So now you got the arms in there too. Okay. Now we want to get a little bit of hip movement in there. So just select this thing. You'll note that what this does basically is rotate the body. It's really nice if you want to twist up your character and whatnot. But what we'll do here is every time an arm goes forward, which you'll note this arm is forward a little bit, we will animate it to follow through like that. So we're going to just rotate it. Oh, wrong one. We're going to rotate it 1H, okay? And keyframe it. Now it's at 12 that the arm is fully forward. Now we'll keyframe it to -1. Or maybe... Yeah, no, that was right. -1 and 24 is when you'll put it back to 1 and keyframe. So now you get this. Okay. So now we're just going to select the head so that the head stays... Yeah, no, I have the floor selected somehow. I'm just going to do this in the visual selector because it's quick. Yeah, so the head, what we're going to do is at 0 frames. Yeah, okay, at 0 frames, we're going to give... So, let me show you here. You'll note that his head rotates with the body. So when it gets its -1, when it gets its +1, it's gonna go with it. So we're gonna give it -1 where it got +1, and then at 12 we'll give it +1 where it had -1, and then at 24 we'll give it another -1. So his head should stay straight on his body. Now, if you don't want his head to stay straight on his body, just delete those and it will turn with the body. That is really an optional thing to mess with. Okay, so now that we've got that, we just basically need to copy and paste all of this over and over again. And click on interpolation, make it linear. If it's not linear, then you kind of are screwed. So what you want to do here is you want to just do. I don't want to do that. You want to click on the... Wait. Give me a moment to figure out what I'm doing here. Alright, I figured out what you gotta do here. Just select everything you've done so far. Go to the last frame in your workflow and hit paste. Now you've got it walking even further. Now go to the last one again, hit paste. Then you've got it going up to frame 70. Last one, paste. Now you got him going up to 90. So now all that work you've done has got you a Steve who will perpetually walk for you. Now, of course, that probably brings up the question, while he's standing still, that's not walking. Well, easy to be fixed. You'll see there's this little selector on the ground that'll... no, I didn't get it quite, so I'm just going to use the selector. You'll see it's kind of this little trapezoid here. That actually will move the entire character, so I'm going to undo what I just did. At frame 0, mark where he is now, and this kind of requires some eyeballing, but I'm going to go to frame 90 and say he walks about there by frame 90 and keyframe that. So now we just got to eyeball it, see if it looks right. So I'm going to hit play. Now, one thing we're going to do here is we're going to actually, we're going to figure out, we're going to click on this again. And we want to make sure that these keyframes are linear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the timeline. Oh, timeline. Timeline's already here. I'm going to try to figure out which one of these is I don't think it's any of them. What am I selecting? I'm just selecting the template itself. Yeah, here it is, this keyframe. We're going to go into f-stop mode here. And we're going to select template version 6. And we're going to zoom out here and kind of move around so you can see what's going on here. We've got a curve here, and we don't want that. We want it to be linear. So select both of these points, and well, one at a time, and make sure that one of them's linear. So now this line, he won't speed up as he continues along. So let's look. Okay, you'll note he should not be moving that fast. That's just not right. So I'm gonna say about half that, like that, and keyframe. Try that. You know, let's see. That still looks like a little bit too far. So we'll go to frame 90, cut it in half again. In fact, it actually might even be too short. That might be the problem. Yeah, I don't think he's going far enough, actually. Might be the problem. So we're going to make him go farther here and see. That might be a little bit too much. That's definitely too much. I'm going a little bit overboard here, but it's really an eye thing. Yeah, so that's almost there. Just gonna move it a little bit like that. And kind of just zoom in a bit more. That's still a bit too much. Again, it's all by eye. Might need even less. Of course, I only did 90 frames, so, and it's all about copying, pasting, so so now he's not moving far enough. You'll note when he does kind of a moonwalk is when he's not going far enough. So let's put it about halfway through that guy. that's almost it. So we're just going to go to frame 90. Shorten it a tiny bit. And there we go. Now there is some things that could be changed to it, but you get the gist here. He walks. Ta-da! That's how you do a walk cycle. And really now, if you just wanted to add more to the walk cycle, all you gotta do, select the guy, make the range as big as you want. Make sure you're selecting all of his stuff and not the actual thing. Just make sure you're not selecting anything in here. And then select everything. And now you got all your keyframes back. Now this keyframe here is the position, I think. So don't get that last one. But copy, I think it's the last 5. Well, actually, you have them copied already. So go to frame 90. Paste. 114, paste. See, now you just got a guy who will walk for you every time you want. You just paste. So now you'll see he's going to continue walking in place now. Yeah, that's how you do a walk cycle. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I mean, now of course we'd make it so that he would walk farther and whatnot. But that's how you do it. Of course, this is all up to personal preference. If you want his steps to be longer, you can make them longer. If you want his head to move, if you want his arms to move differently, if you want his legs to move differently, it is all up to you. But I think this sets up the basics for you guys pretty well to experiment with your own walk cycles and maybe even start getting your basic animations out there right now. So go around, play with it, make your character walk. I highly suggest you do it. Practice makes perfect here, and I'm still in practice heavily, and I think making this tutorial is just sit there and try to explain to yourself everything that you're doing and do it by yourself, and it will help you practice a bunch. And yeah, I think that's about it for this tutorial, and I hope to see you guys all next time. Thanks so much for watching, and always remember, with a name like Bluffers, it has to be good.